You can win as long as you keep your head to the sky. As long as you keep your head to the sky, you can win. All right, let's get into this. Good morning to whoever has joined. It is a full moon in Scorpio. I am feeling good. I am here coming to you live. No makeup. Just a little gloss on the lips. But that's it. Eyes blurry because I was up all night because I start shooting my movie at the end of the week. I start shooting my second short film. I start shooting on Sunday. We shoot on Sunday. It's a 1-day shoot. I'm very excited. So that's why I look tired, because I've been up to like 3 o'clock every morning. But I'm blessed. I'm blessed. I'm so excited to shoot my short film. Thank you for your service. I have a crew this time around. I just feel amazing. I feel blessed. My mother's going to be in the movie, which is crazy, although she told me she needs to get paid, which I think is hilarious. But yeah. And I have like funders. My movie is being funded by the New York Arts Council and by the MAP Fund and the Department of Cultural Affairs. What? I never went to film school. So I'm feeling amazing. Oh my God. And look, we have the Hierophant here. Sometimes this is the card of structure. This is the card of institution. This is the card of foundation building. So I'm super happy to see this, because that's what I'm doing. I'm empire building. I am empire building. You will know Zoe Flowers. Second short film in what? I wrote in 2017 and it's 2021. 18, 19, 20, 21. Yeah, 4 years. Second short film in 4 years. Second book published in 4 years. I published In Praise of the Witch in February. I'm out here. I'm grateful. I'm foundation building. And so I'm wondering, what the Hierophant is here to tell us. We're going to see. Hard work, determination, looking crazy like I do today. Oh, we got Cathrine of Aragon. I'm familiar with Cathrine of Aragon a little bit. Okay, so she was born in Spain/England. I don't understand that. I don't know how you're born in two places at once, but okay. In 1485 to 1536. So when it's up, it is tradition, sacred rituals, public devotion, and formality. Okay, so this is interesting about rituals too, because here we are again, full moon in Scorpio. I'm going to do a reading for Scorpio after this. Sacred rituals. So today would be an amazing day to figure out a new sacred ritual. I am creating new rituals for myself, making sure that I'm being much more grateful, like giving gratitude to the earth. I gave alcohol to the earth and to my ancestors last night, getting back into my yoga practice, regularly stretching my body, because listen, a girl ain't young and I wake up and my back be hurting me. So yeah, it's important as we're empire building to come up with some sacred rituals, to come up with some foundational things. Yeah, I'm here for this. All right. Catherine of Aragon was born to King Ferdinand II of Aragon. That's what, okay, I learned about her in school, clearly. And the formidable Isabella of Castile. Extremely ambitious, Ferdinand and Isabella were quick to secure an alliance with England before betrothing Catherine to Arthur, Prince of Wales. Wait. Ferdinand and Isabella were quick to secure an alliance with England by I got it. Okay, so they married Catherine to the Prince of Wales. King Arthur, Prince Arthur. Okay, got it. The eldest son of Henry VII. Got it. She was raised knowing that her destiny was to become the King of England. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. Destiny, destiny, destiny. Somebody is blasting 50 Cent, and it is 10:19. Up in the club. They are funny. They do work across the street. There's some guys over there working. To prepare for this role, see, you got to prepare for excellence. You got to prepare for empire building. And this Hierophant, for me, Libra Sun, Gemini Moon, I started doing yoga in 2000. I think I talked about this in my other video. And like a lot of this stuff that's like popular now, like I've been doing for a like super long time. Like my friends and I, when did I buy my house? I bought my house in 2000. I left Atlanta in 2006. So I think I bought my house in 2003 or 2004. I think I bought my house in 2003. Yeah. 2003 or 2000, I can't remember. Anyway, I would invite my friends over and I would be like, let's just lay in a circle and put our heads together. I didn't know that we were doing chakra work, right? We would go up on, when I lived in a loft, my loft in Atlanta, we would go up on the rooftop and like we would just be doing all types of stuff. Like in 2000, like in the 90s, I was doing astral projection and all types of shit. But the thing was, I didn't have a strong foundation. That Gemini moon, where it's like, oh, a shiny thing, oh, a shiny thing. And I have some other things in my chart too, like Sagittarius in the 11th house. So it's like a lot of was really, like having a strong foundation was really hard for me. And you can't build anything without a strong foundation, right? So that's why I'm like, I had to get back to my yoga because I did yoga for many years and then I just stopped. That's it. I just stopped. Like, we're not doing yoga anymore. And it was so beneficial. So it's like we have to have these sacred rituals if we want to not just build empires, but sustain empires. So Cathrine had to prepare for this role. She had to prepare for the role of being the prince's wife. So she was educated in many languages as well as in civil law. She also had a strong religious upbringing in the Roman Catholic faith, which influenced her throughout her life. In 1501, at 16, Cathrine married Prince Arthur and they traveled to England, never again to return to Spain. Cathrine was immediately popular with her English subjects, and she and her new husband seemed to get along well, according to the nobles who attended them at Ludlow, their household in Wales. However, only a few months later, the young couple became severely sick with an unknown illness. Cathrine survived, but Arthur did not. Her father-in-law, Henry VII, did not want to return the substantial dowry that had accompanied Cathrine, so he can try to have her marry the next in line to the throne, his younger son, Henry, Duke of York. This is a perfect story for a full moon in Scorpio. This mess is a mess. The key to making this marriage possible was the acquisition of a special dispensation from the Pope. The leader of the Roman Catholic Church. The Pope confirmed that Catherine's marriage to Arthur was not valid, as the young couple had never been sexually intimate. Oh yeah, I'm sure. I'm so sure. I'm like so sure that they were never sexually intimate. Poor Cathrine. Look how Cathrine looked. She don't look happy. She looked like I done left Spain. I done brought all my money over here to England. I done married this man. He done died. And now I got to marry his younger brother. Or maybe she was happy. We'll see. Maybe it all worked out in the end. So Catherine testified throughout her life that her first marriage had never been consummated, as her position as Henry's wife and queen consort depended on this fact. What else she gonna say? In the meantime, but in the time between Arthur's death in 1501 and her marriage to Henry in 1509, oh, Catherine lived almost like a prisoner in London. Because the king was reluctant to return her dowry, she was unable to leave, but she had few resources to keep up a proper household. In 1507, Catherine served as the first female ambassador to who? Oh, in European history, when she was appointed to represent Spain in the English court. The king and his courtiers expected to be able to manipulate the young princess turned diplomat. However, Catherine had a trick for them. She proved to be stronger than the king anticipated, and she was aware of this, writing to her father, I am not as simple as I seem. Yes, Catherine, yes. Shortly after Henry VII died in 1509, Henry, Duke of York, ascended to the throne, becoming Henry VIII. I'm not sure if he was a good king. I can't remember. I know one of them Henrys was a mess, and I feel like it was Henry VIII. Oh, boy. Okay, I'm praying because I don't remember enough of my history, but I don't think Henry VIII was a good one. Lord have mercy. The 18-year-old king was quick to wed Catherine. So she was 23, he was 18. By all accounts, the early years of the marriage were filled with affection and mutual respect. At their joint coronation, crowds gathered to cheer them on. Catherine became pregnant shortly after wedding, but miscarried several months later. Okay. In 1511, Catherine gave birth to a son, but he died suddenly after less than 2 months. Despite these losses, the royal couple remained close. Yes. Henry even appointed Catherine to be regent in England when he traveled abroad on a military campaign. Oh, damn. In 1516, after more miscarriages and stillbirths, Catherine gave birth to a baby girl, Mary. No son. Oh, shit. Henry was disappointed as he wanted a male heir, and at this time, there was no precedent for a sole female monarch in England, but he was pleased to have a healthy child with his then beloved wife. In the years that followed, Catherine suffered another miscarriage, then gave birth to another daughter who did not live beyond a few hours. After so many losses, the king and queen began to grow apart. Catherine remained committed to her own education, both religious and otherwise, and made sure that Princess Mary studied a variety of subjects. Catherine's interest in academics made it fashionable during her reign for young English girls to be educated. She commissioned a controversial book, The Education of a Christian Woman, by Juan Luis Vives, in which the author argued that women and girls had the right to an education. Yes, despite her accomplishments as regent, as a patron of the arts and sciences, and as a mother, the king no longer loved Catherine. Oh boy. By the mid 1520s, Henry sought an annulment so that he could marry his mistress, Anne Boleyn. That's what I thought. Yeah, I thought Anne Boleyn. Yeah. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. Henry VIII. Yeah, that's what I thought. In the hopes of producing a male heir with a wife. For several years, Henry tried to convince the Pope to annul his marriage to Catherine. How are you going to annul a marriage after you done had several children? This is such a full moon in Scorpio. Oh my God. But his requests were refused, as he had consummated their marriage several motherfucking times. That's what I said. Frustrated, so he couldn't divorce her. So he separated his kingdom from Catholicism and created the Church of England, appointing himself its spiritual leader. Well, I'll be damned. Now Henry could marry and divorce as he pleased without any theological or legal obstacles. My question is, what happened to her dowry? Catherine, deeply pious and faithful to her religious roots, ardently disagreed with Henry's decision. Ultimately, he sent her away from court to live in a decaying house more than a day's journey from London, and he forbade her to see Mary. I know this story. I've watched enough English. Was it something on Showtime, I think? I know I watched The Tudors, and but it was something else I watched about. I don't know. I didn't watch a lot. I've watched a lot of English shit. Okay. Catherine called herself the king's true wife and the true queen of England until her death. Catherine of Aragon held strongly to the traditions in which she was raised. Her staunch Catholicism and her consequent adherence to her position as Henry's true wife and queen gave her rules to live by, but they ultimately didn't serve her. No, they did not, because you were a woman at that time. You ain't had no power, sis, even though you were smart. The Hierophant represents time honored traditions and institutional power. And I think for me, that is why I have had, I have such a issue with institution and with structure. Like I told you, it's like I have a hard time like doing things every day. Like even these readings, it's really hard for me to do something every single day at the same time, right? And so what has helped me is like working with the moon. Like working with the full moon and the new moon was amazing because the more I worked with the moon, it was like I became more in tune with what's happening in the earth. It definitely helped my channeling abilities. And I start to like, I feel what's going to happen way before. Like before, and I'm talking like years ago, I'm talking like, I remember in when I was in my house. So that was again between 2003 and 2006. And that's when I started like drawing down the moon, is what they call drawing down the moon. And I synced my cycle to the moon. But again, I didn't keep up with it, like so the full moon, the new moon, it didn't impact me. Like when people get crazy around the full moon or whatever, it didn't impact me. I could glide through the full moon, I could glide through Mercury retrograde. But when I started to really work with the moon and do rituals on the moon and work with the retrogrades, then it was like I started to feel, I'd be like 2 weeks before things, the full moon would come, I would start to feel stuff and I'd be like, oh, wait, the full moon is coming. And now I pretty much know when the full moon is. I know when the new moon is. Also, because I'm just doing this work more regularly now, right? I have a foundation in it. And so I'm more connected to what's happening. And I think that is what, not I think, I feel that that is what, it has definitely made me more a better channel. It's made me more psychic. It's definitely made me more successful. And it's a struggle. Like it is a struggle for me to do something every single day, like to have set rituals. So, and I feel that part of it is because first of all, I have a problem with authority. Like, even though I have a Capricorn rising, which you would think would make me more like, meh, 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 but like I said, I have so much other shit in my chart where it's like, you're not going to tell me what to do. You're not the boss of me. You don't even go here. Like, that is my natural inclination. Like, and it's funny because most Capricorn risings are entrepreneurs because we just have problems working for people. And I used to get an attitude, and I had a great job. 10 years they gave me so much freedom, and If I felt my freedom was encroached upon in any way, like people asking me basic questions about my actual job that I actually got paid to do, I would get an attitude and I would laugh about it. I would laugh about it. And I would talk with my coworkers and even my CEO, because we're like my old CEO, we're really good friends. And I'm like, I can't, but like, I would have an actual attitude about my actual job that I got paid to do. And once I dug into my astrology chart and I really started working with it was right there in my chart. So I have a huge problem with institutions and institutional power. And also, just as a Black person in these United States, these institutions have not been for us. These institutions have killed us. And even as a woman with histories like this, right? So, tradition, institutions, I have a real resistance to that. And so it says this card. So maybe you have that. Maybe you can relate. I don't know. Or maybe you're like a rule follower. I don't know. But it says this card's presence in your reading suggests that you examine the ways you are affected by established customs or beliefs. I already just told you mine, whether they are widespread. I already shared that with you. Consider the origins and the historical practices of the traditions to which you're connected. Yeah, I've already done that. Those of your family and your ancestral homeland. Yeah, exactly. And your religious community. Yes. You may find that your increased understanding affects a change in belief or perhaps deepens it. Yeah, got it. Okay. That doesn't apply to me because I've been doing that, which is why I don't really celebrate holidays. Like, I stopped celebrating pretty much all holidays in the 90s. Now, because my mother is older, like she just turned 80 in March. Um, I observe for her, like out of respect, Christmas. Um, oh, Halloween. Um, but that's pretty much it. I don't really celebrate holidays because I know their history. Um, and I have a very I was in the Nation of Islam in the 90s. And so there was a book about holidays, and it showed the historical, you know, the actual where all the holidays come from. So I really stopped celebrating holidays in the 90s because I was like, this is like, what does a bunny rabbit have to do with Jesus? Like, there's just so much of like pagan, which, and I have nothing against pagan. Listen, I'd be doing some stuff, but I just think it's funny how this country has taken so many pagan practices, right? Because the people back then, they didn't want to give up their pagan practices, and nor should they have, um, and couch them in Christianity when really one has nothing to do with the other. They're just historically, it just doesn't make any sense. And so that's where my Capricorn rising is like, this isn't logical. This makes no sense. So we're not going to observe. It's ridiculous. So what I do now is I do rituals on those days so that I can capitalize on the energy. So like on the 4th of July, I did an amazing abundance ritual, a money ritual on the 4th of July with Beyonce, because I use Beyonce's music. There's a little pro tip for you. I use Beyonce's music to power a lot of my work. And my business towards the end of the year, during the pandemic, like I was able to buy a new car in the pandemic. So my shit works. Anyway, but it does. So I use the holidays for that. Like, I think the first money spell that I did was in 2017 when they had the march against Donald Trump. Because I wasn't going. I've been in the domestic violence movement for 20 years. I've been to lots of protests and lots of marches. And I just did not want to go to this march. The march for, I don't even remember what they called it, but where everybody had the pussy hats. But I supported them. I just wasn't going to go as an elder activist. And so my friends who are also spiritualists we were like, we're going to do spells that day to keep people safe. So we didn't go in person, but we had a little private chain where we all decided that because energetically we just felt it wasn't safe. And physically we also kind of felt like it wasn't safe. And so, even though it turned out to be fine, but and it probably turned out to be fine because so many of us were like, we're going to do magic to keep everybody safe in that day. And so that's what I did when the march was going on. And then that night I did my first money spell. And I don't think Money by Cardi B was out yet. I can't remember what music I used to power that spell. I did a money spell with Cardi B with the song Money. That must have been a couple of years later. Yeah. Anyway, so, but what I did was I knew that, it's like the movie Ghost, where not Patrick Swayze, the ghost who was teaching Patrick Swayze how to move things. He talked about you take all of your pain, you take all of your love, you take all of your, and you take everything you have, and that's how you move something. So that's how I use holidays to power my work, right? I take and put in my work all the things that are happening energetically, right? To power my work, if that makes sense. Okay, so it says, this card suggests examining your personal rituals too. How do they serve you? Do they really serve you? How can you serve those around you? Which traditions, systems, or organizations add quality to your life? Which ones stifle you? So this is perfect. This is a perfect card. When I was doing yoga, I was like, you've got to do this more. Your neck is so sore. Your back is so sore. You've got to do it. You got to get up. You got to do your videos. If you want your channel to grow, you've got to be consistent. So I am working on this. Like I said, I've had a lot of things help me. I've had a lot of quote unquote success, but I know that I could have been more successful if I stuck to my rituals, if I was consistent. I know that. My resistance to this, to structure, is an issue. So it's like, even though I know all of these things intellectually, like, oh, the way my astrology chart is set up, I don't like ritual. Oh, as a woman, oh, as a Black person, all those things are true. And if you want to be successful, like the kind of success that I want, that I desire, excuse me, got to be consistent. Consistent communication with the ancestors, consistent, your most enlightened ancestors, consistent gratitude, conversation with the earth, consistent rituals with God, goddess, whatever the God of your understanding, whatever that means to you, is needed if we're going to be successful. And ultimately, if we're going to raise the vibration of the planet, if we are going to make the world a better place, like, it's okay to have these new material things. But the real change, the real thing that I want is to help us be free, to feel, that's what I want. I want to be free. I already told you I had an attitude about a job. Like, so I want freedom. And so one of the things I always say is, once you have structure, then you can have freedom. We have to have a strong foundation, and then we create our freedom within it. And if we want to tear down, it's like the Republicans. For 8 years, they was talking about, we're going to repeal and replace the Obamacare, blah, 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 blah. They ain't had shit to replace it. They ain't had no anyway. I say all that to say that they repealed, right? Some of it. But what did there's nothing to replace. So we have to have, if we want to tear down patriarchy, we want to tear down all these things, we want to do all these things, we can't just take things out and not put something else in. And I'm saying that for myself. I'm saying that for you all. If we're going to tear down structures, we got to have our foundation in place so we can have something good to put it in. right? I'm not finna trust, again, because I've been doing domestic violence for 20 years. So I know how this country feels about women, Black women, Latinx women, children, etc. So I'm not finna, obviously, the institutions we have now are trash, right? However, like I said, I was also in the Nation of Islam. I became a domestic violence advocate because I was in an abusive relationship from a Black Muslim dude. He's a Muslim, he's like a 5%er. And so I'm not finna put my trust in people, even if they're people of color, I'm gonna just be transparent, who want to emulate white structure over me. I'm not finna destroy this trash system to take on another trash system, right? Because there's plenty of people of color who want to destroy this structure so that they can be put in place. But what they want to put in place is more power and control. They just want to emulate the white man. So I'm not for that, right? So we need to create structures that are for everyone: gay people, Black people, Latinx people, children, right? And so I believe that, and it's interesting that I'm going on this rant on this full moon in Scorpio, because Scorpio is about the secret desires, the unknown. And so perhaps also this card comes to us on the full moon in Scorpio so that we will have a deeper understanding. Like I just shared with you a whole bunch of like undercurrent shit, like how I do my rituals, what I do, ba 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 ba. I believe that was probably the full moon in Scorpio, even though the moon is secret and Scorpio is secret. But what I would say is use the energy of this Scorpio full moon to look at, and this Hierophant, just like it says, to power you looking at your rituals, the quality of your rituals. Are they working for you? Do they need to be changed? And we know that the full moon energy will be with us for 6 months, right? So the full moon energy, the new moon energy, each one will be with us for 6 months. So what would it mean? Oh, this is so good. For the next 6 months, to look at your foundation, to uncover the secret things that are driving you with regard to your rituals or your lack of doing rituals. It would be a good time to look at your resistance, the resistance you don't talk about that's holding you back. That is what Cathrine of Aragon, I believe, is here to show us. Because Cathrine, and what are the things that you are secretly holding on to? Again, I think I talked about this day before yesterday when I was doing my meditation, and it was like, oh, why do you want all these things, right? And it was a very specific reason. And so now that I know this reason isn't grounded in anything, well, it's not true. It's grounded in something real, but it was, I was thinking it was something else. So now it's like, okay, how do I change that to make it better? So perhaps looking at your secret motivations also for the next 6 months, and use this Scorpio full moon energy to dig into the quality of your desires. Why do you desire what you desire? Is it pure or is it something else? Do you even know? Is it hidden? Because again, the moon obfuscates. So is it hidden from you? Now is the time to dig deep into the recesses of your soul and figure out why you're doing what you're doing. And if the rituals that you have are not serving you, destroy them and replace them with something that works. That is all I have for you. Thank you for listening to my rant. Thank you, Catherine of Aragon. Oh, because what I was going to say is if they're serving you, is because Catherine was going around saying, I'm the true queen. But guess what, girl? You are in a cottage that is that is falling apart, and it takes people a day to get to you. So, what good is your title of queen if you're living in a shack? So thank you, Catherine girl, right? Where are your traditions getting you? Are your traditions getting you in a castle, or do they have you in a dilapidated shack? Now, now we're done. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If nobody told you, you are loved, you deserve love, and I do too. And I will see you next time. Bye.